Welcome back to my channel. I'm Adam and I've just returned from what might be one of my most incredible adventures yet, exploring the hidden gems of Northern Romania's Suceava region. Over the next 15 or so minutes, I'm going to take you on a cinematic journey through medieval castles, painted monasteries of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites, dramatic gorges, and mountain lakes that will leave you speechless. I'll be honest, Romania wasn't originally on my bucket list. I only came here as part of a group of friends. But after spending a week here, I can confidently say this region rivals anywhere I've been in Europe for sheer natural beauty and historical significance. And the best part? It's still largely undiscovered by mass tourism. So grab a coffee, settle in, and let me tell you why Northern Romania deserves to be your next adventure destination. My journey begins in Suceava, leaving the small airport into what was once the capital of medieval Moldavia, with this impressive 14th century fortress, Suceava Castle, also known as the Royal Citadel. Entry into the castle is incredibly affordable at just 10 Romanian lei, that's about £2. It's open Tuesday to Sunday from 10 AM to 6 PM, and I'd recommend spending about 45 minutes to an hour here to really appreciate the restored walls and towers. What's fascinating about this fortress is that it was built by Pietrele Doamnei in the late 1300s and served as the main residence for Moldavian princes for over 200 years. Standing here, you're literally walking where Stephen the Great once ruled his kingdom. Right next door is the Bucovina Village Museum, and this is where things get really interesting. Entry here is just €2, less than 50p. What struck me most about this open-air museum is how it perfectly preserves rural Bucovina life from centuries past. Each wooden house, church and workshop has been carefully relocated here with original furnishings intact. It's like stepping back 300 years in time. I spent about an hour here, but you could easily spend 2 if you're interested in traditional crafts and architectures. From Suceava, it's a 30-kilometer drive, about 35 minutes south to Fălticeni, a charming town that most tourists completely miss. There's no entry fee to explore Fălticeni. It's simply a beautiful Romanian town to wander through with a large artificial lake and a central pedestrian area with multiple buildings of the 19th century architecture. You know what I love about places like this? There's no pretense, no tourist traps, just authentic Romanian life happening around you. The locals were incredibly friendly, and the place I stayed at here was incredible. If you're rushing through Romania, you might skip Fălticeni, but I'm glad I didn't. Sometimes the unplanned stops create the best memories. About 25 kilometers and 30 minutes from Fălticeni, hidden in the Carpathian foothills, is Cămârzani Monastery, and this is where my journey took a spiritual turn. Entry is free, as with most Romanian monasteries, though donations are appreciated. The monastery is open daily from 6 AM to 8 PM, and I'd suggest spending 30 to 45 minutes here. Founded in the 6th century, Cămârzani is still an active monastery. What makes it special isn't just the beautiful frescoes, but the absolute tranquility of the setting. Just 20 kilometers further into the mountains, another 25-minute drive brings me to St. Mina Monastery, and the landscape is becoming increasingly dramatic. Again, entry is free with suggested donations. This monastery is smaller than Cămârzani, but equally beautiful, and 20 to 30 minutes is sufficient to explore. St. Mina dates back to the 15th century and has been rebuilt several times. What struck me the most was the incredible mountain backdrop. You're truly in the heart of the Carpathians now. The drive to Neamt Castle from St. Mina is about 45 kilometers, roughly an hour through increasingly mountainous terrain, but this is the crown jewel of Romanian medieval fortresses. The walk up to the castle takes around 20 minutes and is quite steep. Entry is 15 RON, or about £3, and it's open Tuesday to Sunday, 10 AM to 6 PM. I visited on a Sunday where they had some sort of medieval show running, so entry into the castle was free. I'm not sure if this is every Sunday or just certain events. you should plan to spend at least 90 minutes here as there's a lot to see, from the views to the rooms inside the castle and the whole grounds around. Neamt Castle, built in the 14th century by Pietrele I of Moldavia, is considered one of the most important medieval monuments in Romania. Unlike many European castles that are partial ruins, Neamt has been extensively restored. What's incredible about this fortress is its strategic position from these walls. You can see for miles in every direction. It's easy to understand why it was never conquered by the Ottomans despite numerous sieges. The castle museum inside has excellent displays of medieval life, weaponry, and the fortress's role in defending Christian Europe against Ottoman expansion. From Neamt Castle is a spectacular 35-kilometer drive, about 45 minutes, to Bicaz Gorge, and this is where the landscape becomes absolutely breathtaking. There's no entry fee for driving through Bicaz Gorge, it's simply the main road, but there are several paid parking areas of 5 to 10 RON where you can stop for photos. The entire drive through takes about 30 minutes, but I spent nearly 2 hours stopping at various viewports and stopping at one of the roadside markets just to browse. Bicaz Gorge cuts through the Carpathian Mountains for about 8 kilometers, with limestone cliffs rising to 300 meters on both sides. It's often called Romania's version of the Grand Canyon. At the end of Bicaz Gorge, about 10 kilometers from the main gorge, is Lacul Roșu, or the Red Lake, and this has become one of my favourite spots in Romania. The lake itself is free to visit, but there are several hiking trails around it. The Easy Circuit trail takes around 2 hours, while the longer hikes into the surrounding mountains can take 4 to 6 hours. I took the 2-hour circuit as time was limited, but this was still incredible. At the start, you must balance on a fallen tree log to cross the river, but safe to say, I only made it halfway across and fell into the river. About 15 kilometers from Red Lake, a 20-minute drive through increasingly rugged terrain, is the trailhead for Pietrele Doamnei, or Lady's Stones. Parking is free but limited. The hike to the main viewpoint is about 3 kilometers each way and takes about 2 to 3 hours round trip depending on your fitness level. It's a moderately difficult hike with some steep sections. Having a good balance is highly recommended. Also, don't carry loose items or annoying one-strap bags. Mumu fell off me multiple times where I had to jump down certain parts to get him back. The hike is all about the destination. A series of dramatic limestone pillars rising from the forest like natural skyscrapers. I'll be honest, this hike kicked my butt more than I expected. The trail starts gently but becomes increasingly steep as you approach the rock formations. But the payoff, wow. Partway through the hike, the path splits where you can have a very steep incline to the top of the main rocks, which the sign states 30 minutes, but I chose not to do this because we actually did a hike about 2 hours before and realised it was the wrong mountain before coming to this place. The silence up here is profound, just wind through the rocks and the distant sound of the forest below. After the mountain adventures, it's time to experience what Romania is perhaps the most famous for, the painted monasteries of Bucovina. The drive from Pietrele Doamnei to Voroneț Monastery is about 1 hour and 15 minutes. Entry to Voroneț is 15 RON, about £3, and it's open daily from 8 am to 8 pm in summer, 8 am to 5 pm in winter. Plan to spend at least 1 hour here to properly appreciate the frescoes. Voroneț Monastery, built in 1488, is often called the Sistine Chapel of the East, and when you see these exterior frescoes you'll understand why. What makes Voroneț extraordinary is that these biblical scenes painted on exterior walls have survived 500 plus years of weather. The famous Voroneț blue pigment was a secret formula that has never been replicated. When I first saw these, I was shocked that some sort of barrier or protection to the weather was not there. Standing before these walls, I was struck by the ambition of it all. In an age when most people couldn't read, these monasteries were like massive open-air books. My final stop was Dragomirnei Monastery, about 35 kilometers or 45 minutes from Voroneț. and this provided the perfect ending to my Northern Romania adventure. Entry is €10, about £2 for the museum part of the monastery, open daily from 8 am to 8 pm. The central monastery and the outer walls and watchtowers are all free to access. Like Voroneț, plan for at least an hour, though you could easily spend longer in the peaceful grounds. Built between 1602 and 1609, Dragomirnei is the tallest monastery in Moldavia and has a completely different architectural style from the other painted monasteries. As I sat in the monastery courtyard watching the rainfall with the Carpathians in the distance, I reflected on this incredible week. Northern Romania has surprised me at every turn. The warmth of the people, the incredible preservation of medieval history, the untouched natural beauty. In an age of over-tourism, finding places like this feels increasingly rare. Regions where you can still have authentic experiences, where history isn't commercialized, where nature hasn't been developed to death. The people visiting these places with me were clearly locals, and everyone, as they should, treated everywhere with respect. This is why I choose to explore more untouched regions of our beautiful world. So there you have it, my week exploring Northern Romania's Suceava region. Let me leave you with some practical information if this video has inspired you to visit. We drove approximately 450 kilometers over the week. That's about 280 miles, with the longest single drive being Pietrele Doamnei to Voroneț at just over an hour. My budget breakdown for this trip. I stayed at my friend's place in Fălticeni, although looking at online sites, accommodation in this region averages about £15 to £20 per night. All the attractions, total for all castles and monasteries was under £20 for the entire week. Fuel came to about £60 for the week of driving, and food was eating at local restaurants and supermarket stops for hiking snacks, roughly £15 to £20 per day. The total budget excluding flights, around £250 to £300 for the week. The flight will vary, but for me it was £185 from London. This cost should drop significantly as Wizz Air, one of Europe's budget airlines, has announced 4 additional flights a week to Suceava starting December 2025. With my flight factored in, I spent £400 on this trip. The best time to visit? I went in late spring, which was perfect. Mild weather, few crowds, and everything was open. Romania has earned a permanent spot in my list of favourite European destinations. It offers everything I love about travel: incredible history, stunning nature, authentic culture, and the feeling that you're discovering something before everyone else does. This trip was also that much better thanks to my friends who joined on the trip, and a special thank you to Dan's parents for allowing us to stay in their house. If you found this video helpful, please give it a like and consider subscribing. I post travel content regularly, and there are more Romanian adventures coming soon. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Have you been to Romania, and if so, where to? Is it now on your travel wish list after seeing this video? What destination should I explore next? Until next time, keep exploring, and I'll see you on the next adventure. Thanks for watching.